Why, hello everyone. My name is Mike, and this is TheBoredCyborg. Welcome back to yet another episode. Today I'm doing a What's in the Bag. I haven't done one of these in a while. I've been doing mailbags and thrifting videos and unboxings and stuff like that, but I haven't gotten a chance to show you guys what I've picked up at my bookstore, maybe off-camera places, or even things that I didn't unbox in mailbags. That happens. So this is a stack I've had sitting around for a while, so I'm going to show you guys what is in it. Now, it is in no particular order. As per usual, I like to do these videos in a chaotic manner sometimes. That's right. So, these two came into the bookstore, and I was really thrilled to find them. This is Zarafa. This, let's get the country right. I want to say, is it French? Yes, it's a French animated film, Zarafa. I didn't even know this existed, and I love animated movies, of course, and especially ones from other countries. They really help you peer into a culture in a lot of ways. Of course, live-action films do too, but art styles are very unique to countries and how they express themselves, and I think it's a beautiful thing. So I'm really happy to have this, and it does have subtitles it does have English subtitles, it says. So I know nothing about this movie, nothing about the story. Looks like it takes place in Africa, if I'm not mistaken, and England. I'm not exactly sure. It looks like an African plain there with the giraffes and the camel. And then it looks like Victorian era sort of England. Not exactly sure, man, but I'm looking forward to checking this out. That is Zarafa. Have you guys seen this one? Do you know anything about it? Never even heard of this animated picture. When did this come out? 2011. Very cool. Same thing with this, guys. I'm familiar with the novel or the book. I have the book, The Prophet, and haven't read much of it. I've read excerpts here and there. Khalil Gibran's The Prophet got made into an animated film. Who knew? I had no idea this even existed. So I don't know much about the story at all, so I'm not even going to get into it, but I'd love to know if you guys have seen this. Unfortunately, B. Spivey wrote their name on the slipcovers here. I could probably get some Windex to get that right off, or Goo Gone or something. No problem. Now, The Prophet really sparked my interest because it's directed by the director of The Lion King. Hopefully his name's on here. Roger Allers directed this, the Lion King director. So that's pretty big. So I really am looking forward to giving this film a shot, but at least for now, putting it into my animation collection, which is ever growing. Very cool. Didn't know these two animated films even existed, guys. So very happy that those came into the bookstore. Next up, I went to Big Lots, and I didn't film because I didn't think I was going to find anything. I never do. But District B13, not the sequel. This is the original. I picked up the sequel from the Dollar Tree months back. This is the original film. Who did this? Pierre Morel. I can't do it. That R is killing me. I'm practicing though. But anyway, Pierre Morel went on to do Taken, if I'm not mistaken. Taken, if I'm not mistaken. And he also did this, I believe, before. District B13 is really a parkour action movie from the mid-noughts. Really great kinetic action. Incredible stunts all done by the main guy. Great action scenes, set pieces. Really fun movie about a sort of futuristic city, totalitarian city that's locked down everywhere. And this guy, the only way to get around for this guy is to jump across buildings and fucking jumping all over the place doing parkour and also kicking guys' asses when he needs to. So this movie's really fun. I'm looking forward to checking this out again. It's been 15 years since I've seen this. So District B13, was happy to find that for 3 pesos. Not bad. And then this one I've already opened, but this one was $3 as well. I had Face Off, but I didn't have Snake Eyes on Blu-ray. So I'm selling off my Face Off Blu-ray, and I bought this that has both now. It does have them on different discs. If they were both on the same disc, I probably wouldn't have done it, but to save some space, I'll take it. And I don't have Snake Eyes on Blu-ray. I really enjoy Snake Eyes. One of the Brian De Palma films that doesn't get talked about too much, but it's a great film with a lot of long takes. It's a crime film that takes place. It's what is it? It's gambling. So Nick Cage's character is betting on a boxing match, I believe, or he's sort of the arbiter of the gambling. I forget exactly what the details are, but it takes place over one night, and it feels like it takes place over one night, and you're there with them watching the action unfold. Really cool flick that I want to check out again. It's one of the... It came out in the 90s. I forget when. Was it 98? So, I mean, yeah, Cage just had a hell of a run. Snake Eyes is not an action movie, but, you know, he had The Rock, Con Air, Face Off, and then Snake Eyes, which is no slouch. Not an action movie. It doesn't really belong with that camp, but it's still a great crime film with Nick Cage in the lead. And he's not always good, but when he's good, he's good. And in Snake Eyes and Face Off, he's excellent. And I've talked about Face Off. John Woo, love Face Off. One of the kookiest scripts that was ever produced, big budget. I love it. And I've completed my Infernal Affairs collection. This is the third film. I've not seen the second, so I obviously haven't seen the third. I love the original, which of course was remade in America as The Departed, by Scorsese with DiCaprio and Matt Dillon. This one, I know nothing about, so I can't really speak about it, but the original film I really do love. It's hard for me to differentiate the two and say which one I like better, but The Departed sort of has a spot in my heart because I watched it first, I gotta admit. But Infernal Affairs is excellent, and without it, we wouldn't have gotten The Departed. So it also Infernal Affairs also has 2 sequels. I'm not sure if they were all directed by the same guy, but this one is directed by Andrew Lau and Alan Mack. Andrew Lau and Alan Mack. So, that is Infernal Affairs 3. How is the series, guys? Let me know how it stands as a trilogy. Next up, we have a couple 4Ks, believe it or not, of which I can't play because I don't have a player yet. But that is Pacific Rim, which I traded in my Blu-ray copy, and Pacific Rim Uprising, which I've not heard many great things about, but I do want to check it out. It's not Guillermo del Toro, but it is some other guy. And I do want to see it. John Boyega is the lead in this, I believe. I've heard the action's good, but it doesn't have much substance in terms of characters or story, which is fine. Sometimes, I mean, obviously that's not fine, but in a big action movie like this with mechas and titans and giant monsters and kaiju, I'm fine with it. So at least if I get some good monster, what are they called? I forget. Jaegers? Is that right? Jaeger bombs? Jaegers. Either way, I look forward to checking out the sequel and rewatching Pacific Rim at some point, which I do enjoy. A solid 3 out of 5. I'm not crazy about it, believe it or not. Hey man, Mr. Man, Mr. Postman. Kevin Costner is Mr. Postman. There we go. The Postman is not a film I enjoy too much. But it was on the dollar shelf at my job, and I was like, well, for 50 cents, I'll take it. This film was just a slog the first time I watched it. It's been called Waterworld on Land. It's post-apocalyptic. Kevin Costner plays the last, postman, and he's got to deliver mail in a post-apocalyptic world. It's not as good at all. It's nowhere near as good as Waterworld, in my opinion. I am a fan of Waterworld. I know people don't like it, but I love Waterworld. I have a lot of fun with it as an action film. This one doesn't have much action, and it's goddamn near 3 hours long. It is 3 hours long. Screenplay by Eric Roth and Brian Helgeland, 2 great writers, and Kevin Costner directed it. So I don't know where the fault lies, and who knows, maybe I'll get more out of it the second time. My buddy at work, Steve, he's a customer, but he's a friend of mine, said that he really loves this film, and I had to disagree with him, which we don't often disagree, but he loved it. It's like a 2.5, 2 maybe. I just wasn't feeling it the first time around, but maybe that'll change on a rewatch. You never know. That's why I picked it up. Next up, yes, I do enjoy some of the Marvel films, and I'm also a completionist, so I have to have all the Marvel films on my shelf, even though I really I enjoy them all. I will say, none of them are really less than like a 2.5 to 3. Some of them are 3.5. Winter Soldier, to me, is a perfect film. 4.5 to 5. I think it's amazing. The best Marvel movie, in my opinion. I love it. The James Bond, espionage, North by Northwest, Hitchcockian nature of it, excellent. I wish they did more things like that. But then they got just super formulaic, and I lost interest. But Endgame sort of brought that interest back. I jumped into it after Infinity War, like, alright, here we go again. Civil War, Infinity War really didn't do much for me, I gotta be honest. At least the first time around. But Avengers Endgame brought it all back. I love the time travel. I love the references to Back to the Future, how they're jumping in and out of time and seeing different versions of themselves. And the climax is great. I mean, I got emotional during the end. I won't say what happens. I'm sure everybody knows at this point. But I did get emotional during the big scene towards the end. The big epic fight, definitely I was swelling with emotion during that. Even though, you know, I'm invested in these characters. We all are, some more so than others. I'm invested in them just enough to care about them when something big happens. That's all I'll say. So I did get emotional towards the end. It's a really, honestly, it's quite an achievement. I will say it's a great movie. Avengers Endgame I really enjoy, and this is the 4K version. I didn't even have the Blu-ray, so this is just a straight, I got this from the store for $2 from my bookstore. So, you know, this is just a straight edition. I believe it's the last, I think I just need the second Spidey movie, which I'm not a huge fan of. They're okay, they're not bad. Then I will have every Marvel movie, I believe. Either way, that is Avengers Endgame, a film I really did enjoy. I gotta be honest, I think I gave it, what did I give it, like a 4 out of 5. I thought it was quite the achievement. Who knows if that'll change in the future? Maybe I'll like it more, maybe I'll like it less. But right now, as it stands, I think Endgame is one of the better Marvel movies ever produced. And the Russos produced, or directed, Winter Soldier, which is my favorite, so the Russos really know what they're doing. And that's why I'm confused as to why Civil War and Infinity War didn't really click with me. Either way, Avengers Endgame. Next up, we got a DVD. Now, I hit a yard sale for the first time this season. I was a little late to the yard sales this year, and I didn't go last year for obvious reasons, COVID. But I missed the yard sales, and I enjoy going out to them. You usually find movies for a quarter, 50 cents, $1. I got this for $1. This is the American remake of a French film, Jean-Luc Godard, I believe. Yeah, Breathless. I believe Godard. Either way, this is Richard Gere in the remake with, I'm not sure, is it Melanie? No, Valerie Kaprisky. I don't even know her. I don't recognize her. Very weird. Either way, this one is directed by Jim McBride, and it came out in '83, which is like 20 years later. About 20 years after the French film, which I really enjoy. I have seen the Godard film. I can't do it. Godard. There we are. I've seen that film, and I really liked it. It's not really my type of movie, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. Sort of, it was the part of the French New Wave cinema. It's black and white, follows a couple that are just sort of on an odyssey through the city in a lot of ways, and falling in love and whatnot. Really good movie. Breathless, the remake here. Glad to add this to the collection for $1. This one's not very easy to find, so I was happy to find it at the yard sale. Next up, we have Grumpy Old Men and Grumpier Old Men, a nice little double feature of a couple forgotten comedies from the 90s with Jack Lemmon and the great Walter Matthau, the pair, the odd couple, of course. This was my introduction to the odd couple in the 90s. My family, I remember sitting down and watching these movies, and we had a lot of fun with them. A lot of the humor obviously went over my head as a kid, but they were family-friendly. Enough. I guess some of the adult jokes probably went over my head. But as an adult, I can't wait to watch these again. It's one of those films that's going to change. All films change, as you grow as a person. But this one especially. I know it's going to be different now than it was when I was a kid, and different when I'm 60. Hopefully I make it to 60. And different when I'm 60. So it's just a film that I'm really looking forward to jumping back in. Great cast. Let's see. Anne Margaret, that's right. Anne Margaret, Kevin Pollak, Ossie Davis, Daryl Hannah. Yeah, just Alan Silvestri music. Donald Petrie directed the first one. Howard Deutsch directed the second one. And I remember enjoying them both pretty equally, actually. And I'm looking forward to jumping in and checking them out. I've had the double feature on DVD forever. Finally have the Blu-ray. Came into the job. $2. Sold. Next up, I forget where I found this. I may have even gotten this on camera. I don't remember. Either way, I think I now have the first 5 Cheech and Chong movies. I still need to own a few of them. I've only seen the first 2, actually. The first one, I love. It's a classic, right? The other one that I watched, I don't know if it wasn't this one, actually. It wasn't the second one. It was like the third or fourth one. It was the one that has a bunch of skits that don't seem like they're related, and it's just in and out of these skits, and it's sort of like Kentucky Fried Movie. It's kind of odd, and I just wasn't feeling it. I remember we watched it one night when we were kids, or late teens, early 20s, and it just didn't really vibe with us as much as the first one did, which is classic. You know, the classic stoner comedy that literally started it all. Without that, we don't have Bill and Ted. We don't have Biodome. We don't have Dude, Where's My Car? Pineapple Express. I'm forgetting some big ones. Stoner comedies. Half-Baked. Jay and Silent Bob. I'm forgetting some stoner comedies. One day I want to do a video on stoner comedies because it's a genre that I really love. And I'll talk about it then. But anyway, this is Cheech and Chong's next movie. This is the second film, I believe, of the Cheech and Chong saga. So, really happy to add this to the collection, the comedy collection. A couple comedies there, which you don't see too often from me. If you do, they're from the 80s, they're from the 90s and before. Communion. This one actually was given to me by a friend, Danny. What up? Thank you, Danny. I know I shout her out a lot. I've gotten her into collecting and buying and selling, and it's really exciting. We could share our excitement for movies, and I've been putting her onto a lot of horror and stuff like that. It's a girl I work with, by the way. Awesome. And so Communion she gave me because she actually bought it to sell, but it was a little too scratched for her to sell. I think it's going to play just fine. It's a lot of light scratches, but I think it'll play. This is Communion. This is Chris Walken. I've talked about this in my, what was it? Talked about a bunch of UFO and alien abduction films a few months back, maybe last year at some point. And Communion was one that I talked about. Chris Walken really carries this film. Without him, it's not great. Who did this? Philip Mora? Yep, Philippe Mora. 1988, really weird alien abduction film that has a lot of the similar tropes that you're used to, but it's based on the story of Whitley Strieber. Now, I'm not gonna judge Whitley Strieber's story. It seems out there, and he is a fiction author, so I don't know about his story. More evidence is needed, that's for sure. But he claims he was abducted over and over and over again. He wrote about it in a book called Communion, and thus the film was made. And I believe he helped on the movie. Yep, he wrote the screenplay. So, and Chris Walken plays his character, essentially. So, moving on. These two, these were cool to find. I didn't get these on camera, but they were at my flea market, and a guy that usually doesn't have many movies I buy, he had a couple. Jack the Ripper. Now, I know this is one of those like public domain diamond crappy releases, but I don't think this film was released officially. Or like on a boutique label or anything like that. Jack the Ripper, Klaus Kinski. Now, I picked this up in a heartbeat because I was like, oh man, I've never seen that. And I was like, I got home and I was like, oh, who directed this? Jesus Franco. So luckily, this is not one of his erotic horror films, which as you guys know, I repudiate at this point in my life. I just can't get into them. But this is directed by Jess Franco, and I think it's one that I'm going to enjoy more than his other work. If not, then I'm just not a Jess Franco fan, and that's fine. Klaus Kinski, though, as Jack the Ripper, I think. Respected doctor by day and the serial killer by night. Yeah, he plays Jack the Ripper, and I love Klaus Kinski. He's a mad actor, and it's lovely to watch him work. But yeah, that is Jack the Ripper, directed by Jess Franco, starring Klaus Kinski, in a really crappy copy, to be quite honest, but I'm not sure if it exists in a better version. This is one of the cooler finds that I've gotten off camera, at least, in a long time. A horror film called Vampirella, directed by Jim Wynorski. This one's very hard to find. Fetches like $40-50. This is actually based on a comic, and I think that is in part why it's so valuable. It is out of print, obviously. Vampirella is a very popular character with a lot of people. Goes back a long time, comics, I want to say 60s, maybe even before that. I'm not exactly sure, I'm not a comic expert. But this is based on the comic. And who plays Vampirella? She looks pretty good. She's not as voluptuous as the images that you usually see of Vampirella, but I'm not complaining either way, obviously. Talisa Soto is her name, and Roger Daltrey. Why does that sound familiar? Roger Daltrey. Isn't that Roger Daltrey? Isn't he from Pink Floyd? Am I wrong on that? I don't exactly know. But Jim Wynorski directed this one. He's hit or miss for me. He pumps out like 1,000 movies per year. So this is one of them. And Vampirella, man, was I thrilled to find this. Especially when I found out how hard it was to find. I've never seen this in the wild. So I'm happy to add Vampirella to the horror collection. Getting down to the nitty gritty, we got a couple Blu-rays and a DVD. Oh yeah, baby. Drive finally got a Blu-ray release. Thank the Lord. Ah, thank you, MVD, for releasing one of the most underrated action films of all time on Blu-ray. It's got a retro-style cover there with like the rental stickers all over it. I kind of dig it. I like it quite a bit. And it's definitely got a Rush Hour kind of vibe to it, of course. But that's because Rush Hour ripped it off. Mark Dacascos, at his acrobatic best, plays Toby something. Is it on the back? Toby Wong. Toby Wong, who is a cybernetic being who is trying to find out where his maker comes from, what he is made of, what he is, all that kind of stuff. But it's not about the story. The story's fine, but it's about the characters, their interactions, and by golly, what is it, the 50s? The action is some of the best, probably of all time, in terms of choreography. The set pieces, they're big and bold and long. There's explosions, there's gun fu, there's incredible martial arts action sequences. Kadeem Harisun even gets down and dirty as the film progresses. Brittany Murphy's in this as an adorable character that tags along for a little while and even puts in some work herself. She was just great, Brittany Murphy, and she plays bubbly characters so well, and she does it in this to the T. Never annoying, very likable, and great chemistry between the three of them. Not like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, admittedly, but the chemistry is still there. But it's all about the action, directed by Steve Wong, an incredible action director that did the Guyver movies, but Steve Wang, I wish he did more action movies in the Hong Kong style. This is just one of the best. Steve Wang did a great job, and there was a special feature on the DVD that had Kadeem Harisun talking about or Mark Dacascos was it, talking about the fact that they had spoken to Brett Ratner and he had seen the film and was really inspired by it, and he made Rush Hour. So we got two great films, but this film should get more talk. I think it's comparable. Man, it's maybe better. The action is better. The comedy's not as good. So, they kind of balance out. But Drive, I love Drive. Such a great movie. Last few. My friend Danny, who I've been talking about, sold me Running Time. She was going to put it on eBay, and I was like, wait, how much do you want for it? I think I got it for like $8 or something like that from her, which was more than fine. This is not an easy movie to find. It goes for like 15 or so. Black and white, apparently all done in one take. It's like a heist movie, if I'm not mistaken. It's inspired by Rope, Hitchcock's Rope. Second feature film in history to attempt the technique of one continuous shot. Interesting. Well, Rope wasn't one continuous shot. It was an illusion. He would cut in opportune times. But this, I'm not sure how it was produced. I'll find out, of course. I'll see. It was written, directed, and produced by Josh Becker. Fast-paced action film, shot in real time. Launches a full-scale heist to steal mob money. There it is. So it is sort of a heist. It is a heist film. And it stars Bruce Campbell. This is supposed to be one of the better Bruce Campbell movies outside of the Evil Dead movies. So I'm really excited to see this. I think it's done in black and white. This is one I've been looking for forever. And this is a great copy she sold me. Pretty much perfect. Let's see. It's got a perfect disc. It's got the insert there. And just great artwork in case. And they're all wearing face masks. Look at that. It reminds me of 2020. And still going on now, obviously. Anyway, Running Time with Bruce Campbell. Really happy to find this. Last up, we got a couple Blu-rays here that were given to me by another co-worker named John. These guys are so good to me because they know I'm a big collector and I'm passionate about this stuff. He had a stack of movies he brought in and he was like, take any that you want, any ones you don't want, I'm going to sell to the store. I was like, don't mind if I do. So I took a slip-covered Lighthouse. Oh yeah, awesome. I talked about Lighthouse quite a bit in my top films of 2019, was it? Was this 2019? I've lost track. Last year was crazy, right? 2019, yeah. This is one of my favorite films of 2019, if not my favorite, so I forget. No, it was like top 3. It's been a while, forgive me. But this is just a mesmerizing film, philosophical, hypnotic at points, odd, peculiar. What the hell is going on? You're scratching your head. Just a very otherworldly film that deals with paranoia and isolation, sort of like The Thing, but it doesn't have many parallels besides those to The Thing. It's really about isolation and what isolation could do to the human mind. And you know, these guys lose track of time. They don't know how long they've been on this island. It's just such an interesting movie, and it has light fantasy elements, actually. Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson are just incredible in this as just very realistic, crude characters, and they bounce off of each other very, very well. Robert Pattinson, this was one of the films that really made me believe in him as an actor. This and Good Times. So, The Lighthouse, happy to have it on Blu-ray, slip covered up, awesome. Last but not least, talk about a badass slipcover. You guys got me converted now. Uncut Gems, baby. Another one, was this 20? Yeah, this was another one of my favorites from 2019. I think it was top 5, if I'm not mistaken, top 3. Go back and check that video. I've forgotten. But this is an intense Adam Sandler thriller directed by the Safdie brothers. And it's just a New York odyssey is what it is. It follows a broken character in Adam Sandler's character who is a jewelry dealer and a compulsive gambler who gets himself in over his head, and just when you think he's getting out, he makes another bet, and just when you think he's getting out, he makes another bet, and just keeps going until the climax, which is just abrupt, unsatisfying, and brilliant. I love this movie. And I can't wait to watch it again because there's a lot going on. This is really a philosophical film in a lot of ways. It says a lot about just the way that New York and big cities are run, the lifestyle, the stress. This film always has something going on in the background. There's 20 things happening. People are talking, you know, he's talking to like 4 different people at once. He's making a deal. He's walking there. He's walking here. It's just dynamicism all throughout the film. It's kinetic. It's always moving, always evolving, always pushing forward, and I love it. Uncut Gems is incredible. I can't wait to watch this again. Can't wait to see what the Safdie brothers have next. That is Uncut Gems. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this What's in the Bag. Feel free to let me know what you guys have picked up in the last couple days, couple weeks, whatever it might be. Feel free to leave that down in the comments below. As usual, we'll get a little discussion rolling. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel and want to see more videos like it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well as the little bell for notifications. I also have a Patreon and t-shirts. Links are in the description below. I appreciate any support. Thank you all. Anyway, guys, I will see you next time. Bored Cyborg is out. See ya.